Changing Lanes, the official podcast of BMW. Welcome to this episode of Changing Lanes, the official podcast of BMW. My name is Jonathan.
And my name is Sarah.
And today on the podcast, we pay homage to a pioneer, an icon, and a classic of the future, the BMW i8. I mean, how many can claim to achieve icon status before retiring from the scene? I mean, very few cars come to mind.
Yeah, the first series-produced plug-in hybrid sports car made in 2014 is still synonymous with sustainability even today. And it continues to make an impression as an innovation driver for a long time to come. So join us today in the podcast for a look back at a piece of pioneering history with the BMW i8.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, production of the i8 ended in June 2020, and while car enthusiasts may suppress a tear or two, those in charge of the BMW Museum and the custodians of the huge classic cars collection at BMW Group Classics will be thrilled. New edition. You know, in my opinion, the i8 still has so much more presence than even most newer vehicles, and not just the sporty ones.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, the BMW i8 combines a lot of unique attributes. So sports car, coupe, or roadster, pioneer, brand shaper, innovator, and all of this with a future-oriented design. You know, the design of the i8 can be traced all the way back to BMW's Vision Efficient Dynamics that was presented in 2009. It took another 5 years for production of the i8 to begin, but the design was still futuristic when production began in 2014, and it still looks sophisticated today.
Most definitely. So the production version of the BMW i8 had a flat front hood, air curtains in the front apron, a paneled underbody, and air ducts between the taillights and the roof frame. And the result? A drag coefficient, or CW value, of just 0.26, which is pretty darn good.
Well, let's talk even more tech now, Jonathan. So the i8 features a plug-in hybrid that combines the best of both worlds. Sheer driving pleasure meets excellent driving performance, so to say.
Sounds amazing. Now, the combustion engine with BMW twin-power turbo tech provides power to the rear wheels, while the electric motor drives the front wheels, making this an all-wheel drive. Super cool. And a high degree of traction is always guaranteed. And I must mention that the hybrid sports car can reach speeds of up to around 75 miles per hour or 120 kilometers per hour in electric mode.
That's super fast for electric, you know.
Totally.
People don't expect it, but listen, it can clock those kinds of speeds too.
Exactly. And this is really groundbreaking. So not just for speed, but also for the environment, which is super important too.
Yeah, and that's not all, Jonathan. The electric motor initially provided a peak output of 129 horsepower and 141 horsepower by the end of production.
Wow.
Add that to the power of the three-cylinder engine, and the i8 had an impressive 369 HP. And this made it possible to achieve figures of less than 5 seconds for the standard 0 to 60 sprint test.
Amazing. The i8 is just so cool. You know, another thing that we have to mention is the chassis and the body. The passenger cell is made of carbon fiber reinforced polymer and is combined with an aluminum chassis, making it sheer perfection in lightweight construction. But also, the BMW engineers achieve a perfect axle load distribution of 50-50. Plus, the deep and central location of the battery, that means that the vehicle has a lower center of gravity, which makes the sheer driving pleasure factor for the driver extremely high.
And if that weren't enough, lots of the materials used were very environmentally friendly.
Yes.
So materials like leather tanned with an olive tree leaf extract, and also innovative textiles containing polyester granulate derived from recycled plastic, and aluminum that was mostly obtained through recycling. And when it was launched, the i8 was actually the world's first production vehicle that could be equipped with laser headlights, which considerably reduced the lighting system's energy consumption.
Wow.
And that in turn gave the car an increased light output, which also improved driver safety.
And as our podcast listeners know, we are all about driver safety.
Always, for sure.
So, the BMW i8 was definitely the first of its kind, bringing all of these attributes together, which had never really been done before. The things BMW had learned from the i8 that has been brought into the future of e-mobility production is super clear. Plug-in hybrid production, innovation, fast engine with low consumption, resource efficient, sustainable, and increased driver safety. And thanks to all of these unique properties in 20 years' time, we're going to look back on the i8 and say this is where things really took off.
So there you have it, everyone. The BMW i8. We tip our hat to you.
Yes.
You may no longer be produced, but you will definitely not be forgotten. On the contrary, the BMW i8 was the catalyst for change to see if BMW could really do it, to put all of those attributes together.
And BMW sure did. And we learned a lot from the i8 for the future of production. And we are super glad to share our homage with you today on the podcast.
Yep.
So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Changing Lanes.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe to our podcast for future episodes.
And to dive deeper into all things BMW, head on over to bmw.com to learn more.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Changing Lanes.
See you next time.